And so finding out what that block is, because it's interesting when you say stress and those things are blocking it, and we're talking about vibrational frequency, because like a vibration has to hit something and come back to you in order for it to vibrate. So it goes forth and it hits it, and it has to find resonance. And so I feel like you can imagine it going, and then there being confusion or chaos energy, stagnant energy, that sludge, if you will, and it won't let it go through and penetrate and hit that thing with a clear signal to come back to you, because it's getting stuck in the stuck energy or the confusion or the chaos, which comes from anything but something that was said to you in the second grade. Really quick, before we get started, if you are blessed by this ministry, if you're blessed by this platform, anything that I bring to the table, I ask you to partner with me via Patreon. Go to patreon.com/TruthSeekah, and you unlock rewards, my entire discography of music, webinars, meditations, weekly hangouts, and so much more. Patreon.com/TruthSeekah. Go check it out.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah Podcast.
Gargoyles, psychics, everything's ungodly. Dark savage.
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian.
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff.
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TruthSeekah Podcast. I'm your host, TruthSeekah, excited and delighted to be with you for another episode. Today, my guest is Bill Nolan. Bill, welcome to the TruthSeekah Podcast, brother. How are you?
Oh, happy to be here. Very excited.
Good to have you, man. Got your email, checked your website. The work that you're bringing to the table, phenomenal. I'm interested. The terminology, the healing, the beauty, the frequency, vibration, all of this stuff that you're talking about and more. We're going to dive into it today, man. So excited to talk about the BioScan and Planet BioScan, exactly what that means, dealing with it. I'm a student. I have a lot of questions and maybe some input. And so this is what this is, man. This is a journey. This is the discovery both ways. So can't wait to explore with you today.
That is fascinating you said that. Right after we talked or emailed each other to arrange this, there's a lot of biblical verses that are in the computer I utilize. And this one comes up a lot on folks. My little cup here, the Romans one, and we know. But for me, once I learned of you, I was going to wear this. By the way, do you prefer Derek or TruthSeekah?
Either or, either one's fine. I used to always say Truth. Let's just call me Truth. My friends call me Truth, but it's like Derek is just kind of regular. I would actually ask people to put my name as TruthSeekah, and they would put it as Derek Grosskurth anyway. I was like, nobody's gonna know. It's hard to spell. But
thanks, man.
But now like I'm studying words and stuff and just looking up the meaning of my name, and so I like Derek. The meaning of it. Derek in Hebrew is the way. William is resolute protector or strong-willed warrior. Gross is great, and Kurth is a counselor or advisor. So the way of the strong-willed warrior, of the great counselor, great advisor, which
can't make it up.
Holy Spirit, man. Your life and even where you're from. So I know when you're talking about Planet BioScan, I want to dive into this and see exactly what it entails, man.
I'll show you this shirt. I got this shirt because I was going to wear it, but this came up on my own scan once I learned of you, and I don't know if you can see it.
Nice.
Is it showing up?
Yeah.
So iron sharpens iron. And how I've always taken that, Proverbs 27:17 is, like in this example, you and I, we just keep each other going. You know what I mean? And help, like you just said, help each other out, ask questions. If one of us starts to fall a little bit, brotherly help. Today it's very common, no judgy, but sometimes help is mistaken for judgy. So yeah. I always welcome it. I'm always checking myself, and I welcome people who care about me to do it if it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm on to that. But I got goosebumps when that came up.
That's so awesome.
So honestly, I ordered that shirt and I was going to wear it, but it wouldn't show up on the screen. So I put it to the side.
There you go.
But I'm very much into synchronicities and everyday occurrences to help inspire mainly and guide. And they happen a lot. And I think they're significant. I don't always know what they mean. And sometimes they don't happen with what the words are right away.
Yep.
But it's a great way to live, at least.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're in the flow. Because you know when the synchronicities are happening, and then you know when they're not. So for me, it's like, am I in flow? Am I in sync? Or is there something that's got me out of alignment, or something I can't get over that's blocking me? Let's say this, not from having the synchronicities in your life. I think they're always there, and they've always been there. That's the cool thing. But for you to be able to perceive them. Like they're there, you just don't notice them because you're flustered or you're focusing on the bills or whatever it is. But once you're in sync, then there they are. Now I can see them. I see God's hand at work in my life.
I'm sorry, you mentioned that with folks I've learned of Derek and TruthSeekah on Coast to Coast AM radio. That show, way back in the day before YouTube, that educated me, inspired me big time.
Yep.
And so I still check in on it, and I saw you were a guest, and so I listened in. And just like you said about they're always there, but are you aware of them, so to speak? I heard you mention that about the pineal gland stuff. Like you said, it's the work you do and how you've experienced this and how others is. It's there, but how to tune into it.
Yeah. And
tune into it correctly also. So I've never heard it explained that way before. That was really, really interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's a lot of other people's work, but like you said, diving into the words, like your name. What is your name? What do these words mean? And it's been fun. It's been a roller coaster to actually break those down for me in the Bible, like the names of the people, the name of the places, the names of the things, all in the scriptures means something at face value. Really, it means nothing at face value. And like whatever you've attached to who Moses is or whatever, or who Aaron is, but you don't know what Aaron's name means. And if you knew what his name means, you knew that it would tie into the story, what they were to bring to the table, what they were to do. And so that's the fun part when you're like, why does Mary mean rebellion? And Magdalene is from the word migdal or amygdala in the brain. And so it's like, wow, everybody has like, I love it. It's amazing. It's an awe and a wonder to get lost in these words. And people say, there was a comment today on my Facebook where somebody was like, which version do I read? I want to get into the deeper language, but is there an Aramaic? Is there a book that I can just read? And I don't want to get lost, and just lost in the words. And I said, no, that's the point, is to get lost in the words. Lost in awe, lost in wonder, in creativity, and thinking. So in order to find yourself, you got to get lost in the words, man. And so that's what I'm doing, and this is what's coming out of it.
Well, your guest the other day, the doctor, he was saying he thought it was perhaps preferable to not read the English translation. Is that how I heard him correctly say?
Yeah.
About the Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
That was really interesting.
Yeah. It's because we give connotation to the words with imagery, with pictures, and what you've been told. And so we can go through this is what I'm finding, all of the religious symbolism in the Bible, all the religious names, and you can tell me what, an image will pop up for you. When I say deacon, there's an image of a deacon, or a bishop. What is a bishop? And for me and you, it could be two different things. Just the imagery of what we've seen in church culture and religion. You may see a Catholic bishop with the big, meat tree on his head and holding the staff and those things, and he's a bishop. But for me, I see, I'm honest with you, a Southern Black Baptist church, Bishop Jenkins, Bishop so-and-so. How you doing? Praise God.
Yeah,
That's
that
the bishop
makes
to
sense.
me. But but to ancient Egypt and ancient Greece,
different.
what was a bishop? No, not that.
Right.
And so exploring
that
all of
same
those
doctor
things.
pointed out deer.
Yeah.
Like the Elohim is a plural one, and he
Yeah.
used that word deer.
Yep.
Like it could mean a deer or a bunch of them. I mean, it's really interesting. You don't know where to start with some folks because that either would bring them clarity or confuse them more.
Yeah, and hopefully they work together somehow,
Yeah.
because
In the long run, yes.
it's not until
And,
you find you're in a place of confusion do you start to ask the deeper questions to try to get clarity. But I think most of us, I speak from experience, feel like there was that point where you had it all figured out. And there's nothing else to learn. I'm the one who knows it all, and I'm just trying to convert people or convince people. And it's like, no, the more that I study, the more I find out that I don't know, and it's fun.
Well, there's
it's okay.
a proverb somewhere that says a wise man knows he's not that wise, or I know I'm really smart because I know I don't know that much, and all that. And there's a lot to that. And on that note, we were talking off camera, and I don't think I know it all, but some people might think I do the way I speak.
Yeah.
Because when I know what I'm talking about, I'm emphatic and I'm confident. But I know I don't know it all. I don't want anybody to think I know it all. And to prove I don't know it all, and you helped me here too, was at first, when I first heard of you being on the podcast, I was like, I appreciate like all kinds of things, but I might not necessarily have an affinity for them. And i.e., in this example, rap music. And the same for opera. I know it takes a lot of talent to be an opera singer. I just can't personally appreciate it, but I know it's awesome. In rap, I feel the same way. But so I might have not watched that podcast, but something went ding. This guy sounds really unique, so I better. And I'm so good I did. So there's the thing where I think I know people. I tend to stereotype them a little bit because of this work I do. People generally run into patterns, and so I can fall in the trap of stereotyping. And this was a lesson for me not to do that because, and I'm not just saying this, I think what you're doing is fantastic. I don't know of anyone else that's doing the totality of what you are. You're truly committed. I mean, you're on it all the time. And your dedication and the unique things you're learning and how you teach people, I don't know anybody that's doing that. And so with that, and folks, we did not rehearse this or anything, and I'm getting maybe a little bit ahead of myself, but behind me there, you might see, I'm backwards, my little logo for Help Is On The Way, and that is a TV series and a feature film project. And what it's about in a nutshell is it's very entertaining, but it also helps people. It's got to be entertaining or people won't watch.
Yeah, exactly,
But
right.
what we do is we showcase legitimate, credible, because there's a lot of nonsense out there. And I'm really on to that. I won't have anybody that's not for real. I want verifiable evidence, proof of anyone that says whatever they do, including me. But we want to showcase new technicians, new inventions, practitioners. We've got dolphins, cats, horses, dogs that have proved to give therapy out. And we want a wide spectrum. And I have a team that is always on the hunt for new folks. And I hope we can have discussions where you would consider being with us, because what you're teaching people and educating them on and inspiring them is deep. And I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Also, I got a guy named God Cop. He's very interesting, and he's into music besides his sermons and his help. He's got incredible insight. That song that you did recently, Gateway, wow. That etheric, then it comes in your it's kind of mild, but it's driving your rep in Elohim. And dude, that
Yeah.
is beautiful. I swear to God, I would be honored if that was part of what we're doing. And the fact that you can put that together and the more things that could be done.
Yeah.
Please
Thank
consider
you.
joining us.
Thank you, man.
I
Thank you.
mean, oh my God.
Thank
I got
you.
the goosebumps when I heard that. It's just it's, I mean, I get overexcited, but it's what it's all about. I mean, I was like, on one hand, like, oh, that's so pretty. And next minute, I'm like, wah, 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 and
Yeah. I love that.
How do you do it?
Well, that's the
She's from
journey,
South
right?
Africa?
That's the journey. It's like being able to, not just give you one thing. It's like, yeah, we're gonna lay back, melodic, beautiful. I when I heard the lyrics from Laka Vox, like when I heard her sing it, I started crying.
Yes,
And
I
it's
can
like,
understand that.
oh my goodness.
It's
like,
angelic.
yeah, so
Right
to
on.
do that and then know what I'm bringing to the project that is a journey. So I love that in music, in movies, and in these podcast discussions, man. It's just to go on a journey and come back with a souvenir. Something that's like, wow, this is something to think about. This is something to ponder. This is something that moves me. So whether it's you say something new and the people who are listening are like, wow, I've never considered that, or wow, I need to look deeper. I need to go to the website and book a session, all this kind of stuff. Man, whatever you can do that's going to inspire people. That's what it's about, man.
Right. Same with that fits into our whole narrative. It's not necessarily that we're showing somebody a new technique or a new invention. It's the story behind it, and that's the real key to anything to get people involved. Because unfortunately or not, people are entertained. They're not going to pay attention to our culture now. And I really want to try to help a lot of the younger people. And so you are young, and the stuff you do is, in general, geared towards the younger folks. And we don't have people like that, really. So, matter of fact, almost everyone that's on the cast right now is up there. Well, it could be your mom or your daddy. So it would be a nice infusion. And
For sure.
So I'm just
we'll
really
talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. I
Yeah.
love collaborating. I love networking, so we'll definitely talk about it.
Cool.
Before we dive really deep into the Planet BioScan and your work and what you bring to the table, just give a quick update of your background. Just let us know where you came from. I know you're using scriptures in the Bible and those kind of things. Like, let us know your background, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today, and then we'll just dive into your work.
Well, Planet BioScan, I utilize a scalar frequency computer. And the most of it is not included with the Bible verse and stuff, but I have a section, and I call it Electric Prayers. And this was gifted to me, this Bible. That story is really cool, and it's gold fringe, and it's heavy. So what I did was, and we'll explain this in more detail, but real quick, is I put a lot of the Bible verses in the computer. So when we were talking earlier, and you were mentioning the words and what they mean, in quantum physics, we kind of use the word holiolinguistics. It's words, and they. It sounds corny, but every word, I know you know this on some level anyway, have meaning. Words have big meanings. Whether people want to admit it, believe it or not, they do. And there's a frequency to every word. So words are huge. They really are, consciously or not. So all these verses that I put in the computer, they have a frequency to them. And the reason I have them in the computer is if someone wants to utilize this, the computer will scan the person, and if they resonate at the current time in a certain verse, I'll let them know that in a report. I know. And then that frequency, I send it to them. They want it anyway. And so it'll intensify the depth of what it is saying to them more. So it's a double whammy for them in a good way. And it's very inspiring and educational. So, and I've called it Electric Prayers. And it's not everyone's into it, but those that are love it. And it's always spot on, like that, this thing here, iron sharpens iron. When I scanned myself after I learned to view, and it just really resonated, of course. So people ask me what the most common verse is, and there isn't one. It depends on the person. But
Do you think that's, I mean, obviously that's not just biblical because that's just one iteration of
right,
those prayers, right? There's other ways to experience them. There's other, I would say, holy texts that say the same thing, just different. So, but
different,
is there
same
something?
meaning.
Obviously, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like, what sticks out to you? Oh, this is my verse. Why is it your go-to verse, kind of thing, right?
Yes.
So the person has
Oh,
a personal
exactly.
connection with that,
I'll tell you that what
energetically.
comes up a lot though is Epiphans. I can't even say that.
Ephesians.
Ephesians 6:12.
Yes, it's a good one.
But and you had a interesting again too. You had a recent podcast too about we don't fight the physical things we see; it's the unseen. We battle not against flesh and blood, but all those things that we are unseen. And a lot of people really don't get that. But I don't think it's anything to be ignored. And if anything, not be afraid. But it's deep. It's what's going on, man. I rush right into it, but I
People are
think
waking up.
I think there's non-human forms interacting with us.
Yeah.
Christians would call them demons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they called it the jinn. The
Mm-hmm.
Muslims. There's all like you said. There's same words, different,
Right.
same meaning, different words.
Yep.
Some people call them aliens, and it could be all those things.
Yeah.
But I think that they're really having a factor on people more than ever. And so if you're just aware of it, that will help a lot in keeping yourself intact and marching forward to where you want to go now and when we leave this realm. So it's a big one, and that comes up a lot. I mean, like I said, people ask me all the time what's the most common ones, and there isn't one, but that one lately has come up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
So how are you able? So how does your work with the machine?
Well,
and
yeah.
the
Well, I've got a
skills
slideshow we can watch it,
Okay.
but I'll tell you really fast so people don't think I'm on script about myself. Not to be indulgent, but I've had a really unusual background. I've lived in 14 different states, and including where you're from in Louisiana. So I recognized your slight accent when I first heard it. I'm like, oh, that guy's from Louisiana, man. Maybe Cajun or something. And I was kind of right. And so it was interesting. By the way, New Orleans, there's nowhere like it in this country. To me, that's an
Right.
extremely unique place. Very
energetically
You know,
for
I remember
sure
when I
too,
lived
right?
there, TruthSeekah, I remember when I was there, this was a long time ago, but like people didn't really watch TV at night. They were out and about.
Mm.
And I remember that. And it's just really unique. And I was telling you off camera, I coined the phrase, I think, Southern Brooklynese. I used to live in New York and near Brooklyn. Yo, how you doing? And then the New Orleans folks didn't quite have that edge, but a little bit with a little southernness in there. And I just thought that was really unique and interesting. So, but man, that was a great place. But what's brought me to this work is I've had a lot of work in conventional wellness and healthcare. I was a personal trainer. I was a pharma rep. I ran an anti-inflammatory clinic. And I hired doctors. So I had a real strong foothold in that world. And then I got curious about alternative practitioners and methods and methodologies. And I tell folks a story. And it's quick, but with that in mind, with the curiosity of what else is out there, as a complement, or in other cases, preferably. So holistic, what way we use it is, it means whatever is best suited for what person at the given time. It could be a conventional medicine. It could be a totally alternative one, or a combination. We're not interested in which one's the best. We want to do what's right for the person at the right time. So I went to a UFO conference. I was always into UFOs. So I kept it up. I was in Arizona, and I met some folks that had these frequency computers, and I was very fascinated. And I tried them, and I immediately knew there was something there. So I did a lot of homework, and I got into something a little different. But eventually, I settled into this one computer that I have, and I tweaked it a little bit, which is what I utilize. But it utilizes frequencies and scalar energy, which I'll explain. Anyway, I was fascinated by it, and it became very effective. And so I abandoned everything and went full time into utilizing that modality. And then I started teaching it, and we took off. We hit a big dip in '08. The powers to be tried to take that away. It did. They were not successful, but we took a big hit. So I went off on my own a little bit, and here we are now. And that whole time, I met a lot of other practitioners doing what I call, yeoman heroic work, but I called it they toiled in obscurity and poverty. They were doing fantastic things for folks. No one knew about them, and/or they hardly make a living, and I didn't like that. Yeah. So I dedicated this film and TV series, Help Is on the Way, to promote and inspire and motivate the world to know about this stuff. And I thought we were there, and then COVID hit, and then, man, nobody wanted to invest in anything. So we're back at it, and we'll see where we go. We're ready to film once we get our funding. That's the fun part. Ha, ha, ha. But we'll see what this year brings.
Campaigning.
I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to finally get there.
I always say
we got a lot of cool things. We got horses, dogs, cats, dolphins. We got stuff that people have never even heard of. It's all proven. It's wild. So I couldn't be more excited, and we'll see what happens. But hopefully in a niche, that's a little bit of where I come from.
Yeah.
So
that's good, man. I always say if God gives you the vision, He'll give you the provision as well, like the finances and the people who are supposed to.
Well, I'm waiting.
Hey, that's what we do. We wait. We put it out there. We plant the seed. We water it. We allow the sun to hit it.
Not getting any younger over here.
Yeah.
No, I still believe that it does take longer than I want.
Yeah.
And I scratch my head a lot sometimes, but we'll see.
Yeah, you put it out there, and if it resonates, like people are waiting to give. Like there's people who are anointed.
I know, right.
That's their gifting. Is hey, I got finances. Let me give into what you did. That's what they do.
I know there's some right. Derek, I know there's someone or a group out there.
Yeah.
It's up to me to get the word, like you said. Thank you.
That's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
If they resonate with it, it'll be in their spirit, and they won't quit. They can't quit thinking about it. It's God. It's the nudge that says, hey, you got to give. And when they give, they're blessed. And everybody that your work touches is blessed. All of this is full circle. Everything's connected. It all comes
technically, not to sound like a producer, but I am. No, I very much believe in rewarding people and getting and profit sharing, everybody having a piece of the pie. So I got a really generous ROI technically. And if people want to be in the film, they will. I want to make everybody happy. You can't, but I try. And I appreciate people. So I do want everyone to know that. It's a family affair, I'm not a one-man army. So we'll see how it goes.
That's it. Well, let's dive into it. Let's break down the science. Let's get deep on them.
So I got my trusty assistant wifey here. I'm a quantum physics guy, but I need help with the computer. So I got a slideshow just to help guide us along.
Awesome.
And I can go through it pretty quick, but what I wanted to share with you guys is this pineal gland activation for you. And earlier I said too, I can imagine combining this with your work would just be out of this world, literally. I mean, we can talk about that later too, so I'll explain what this is. So you can see the pineal gland, it's very small. Right here, like you said, the third eye. And what we know is, I can move this along. Can you help me with this thing? I'm going to go to the next slide. Oh, that's me. Bachelor of Science degree. I'm a licensed spiritual coach. I'm a certified biofeedback practitioner. Just so you know, I'm not a quack, and I know my stuff, and I'm legit. That's my contact info. Oh, wife. So also we're going to show that there's positive and negative entities. We have some literal proof with photos that this computer can pick up. There's an example of a negative entity attached to a person that looks like a dead body, and it probably is. And that's nasty. Oop. This is a picture, TruthSeekah, of a clear aura. And we think that white light shows the opposite. That's a positive energy. entity, energy. Might be an angel, who knows? But it's quite positive. And we know it is because the person experiencing their life when that picture was taken, things were moving along super well. So here's another one, just to give people an idea. That's an aura of those hues, those colors indicates that person's on a healing path and or prosperity. And by prosperity, it can mean money, but it could also just mean what they also value in life very much. Their family, their pets, their friends. That's going along well. So it's not just always money, but it is prosperity and abundance. So I wanted to include this article. This is from conventional medicine, which they don't usually dive into what we're all doing. But they've proven that Alzheimer's probably is a link to pineal gland and the calcification from fluoride in our water. A lot of folks have heard of the fluoride dilemma. That started off, they gave the fluoride to the folks in the prisoners in the prison camps in Germany. Oh, they wanted to help their teeth? I don't think so. Yeah. It was to docile them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's not conspiracy theory. That's quite real, and it's pretty fascinating. I was amazed that Mainstream published that article. And so we have ways to detox that stuff out of the pineal gland. So how this computer works, we talked a little bit before with holy linguistics. What we mean by that is it's words. Words have definite meaning. That's why it does matter what you say and think. But you don't need to be paranoid about it, but just be aware. Half of all this TruthSeekah is awareness. We'll call you truth. I love that. That's strong, truth. And so is Derek, but I could probably mix it up.
Hey, let's do it.
But the words have a frequency, and that's embedded in the computer. The computer has 15,000 different frequencies in it, and I'll explain that. It's unbelievable. And the computer is so fast, it can scan and utilize all those frequencies. We've got an Oregon shield in there, Oregon. People can Google that. That's a very fascinating subject and literal thing. We utilize sacred geometry. There's crystals in there. We utilize the quantum computer. So everyone's an electric being. Obviously, if your heart stops, they shock you back into coherence, hopefully. Your brain waves are electrical. We're all electric beings besides our flesh and meat and bones and water. So what this computer does, truth, is it interfaces between myself, you, and the computer. Person's electric, I'm electric, computer's electric. And it matches what you need. And how it finds people, So I also send out electric prayers, and we'll explain that too. But a lot of folks go, well, how does this thing work? Do I have to come see you? And they do, but they don't. So a lot of these typical frequency computers, people be in person, they're hanging on to a couple of rods, and there's frequencies sent to them, and that's cool, and this can do that. But what's really fascinating about this thing works long distance. All my clients now are from all over the world. I don't see them in person, and it's very effective. And I know a lot of people that can't wrap their head around it, but I'll explain it. Everyone has an electrical signature. That is their birth name, their birthday, where they were born. Legitimate psychics probably utilize that in their head but don't think about it, or they use a photo or their hair. But it's all the same thing. It's an electrical fingerprint. Again, they're electric, I'm electric. It's an interface with the computer. We input that info, their birth, their name, and where they were born in the computer, out in their social security number or anything like that. And that's how the computer, like a satellite or radar, finds them. I've been doing this over 10 years. It's very effective. I wouldn't do it, and it works. And we got so many testimonials and proof. It's awesome. So I want to make sure I included the human condition, because what this work is also doing is a lot like seeing it goes like seeing a shrink. It's not, but it's like seeing a hypnotherapist. And no matter how good a hypnotherapist is, and there's some good ones, of course, because they're human, there's bias involved. They don't want to hear that, but so we don't want any bias involved at all. And the computer has no bias. So we want to dive into the subconscious because the human condition is odd. Deep down with everyone, there's conflict, and we're not even aware of it. We're guided by our subconscious, but we don't know it. So what this computer can do is find what your subconscious is motivated to do, think, act, and then bring that to your conscious awareness so you can become more fully operational as a total human being and be more in control of your own self. And the computer is tapping into this. So as I say, also, I call a lot of these things electric prayers. So the computer works with the quantum field and informational field. Homeopathic, some people think it's bogus. That's another story, but those things are contained. They're very minute particles of something that's bothering you, and they're very small, but there's information in the water or the homeopathic. As the world is informational. This taps into that. And everybody uses the word quantum a lot. Sometimes it's legit, sometimes, again, it's just trendy. What we're talking about with quantum physics is the very smallest measurable unit of energy. And we're getting into the ATP, the mitochondria, the atoms, subatoms, harmonics. And we're utilizing fractal mathematics, voltage, amperage, resistance, coherence, entanglement. And I'm mentioning all this because a lot of people want to know how is this legit? So they want to know it's here. It's very scientific. People always go, oh, it's so woo-woo. And it is. And Einstein said, ooh, it's spooky work from distance. And it is, but we can actually quantify it and explain it scientifically and legitimately. And I want to do that because I want proof.
Yeah.
And so people will say, well, what's a frequency? Look at radio wave. It's the rate which a vibration occurs that makes a waveform, either in a material, as in waves, or electromagnetic field, radio waves and or light. And it comes in in different forms. Either it's a square, literally a square form, sine or sinus, saw, that's like a tooth, Fibonacci, that's like 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. That's a very interesting one. Scalar is different. It's a different type of frequency. It's not really a frequency, actually. It's a 0-point energy field. Triangle and tickle. This computer uses all those frequencies. It's fascinating. So unfortunately, he passed away, but David Hawkins came up with what's called the level of consciousness. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Mm-hmm. Been hearing a lot about it lately, actually.
Yeah. The only thing that's a little wondering about it is he utilized dowsing, and you got to watch that too because there's bias, but he seemed to really perfect it without any noticeable bias. So his work is probably very legitimate, but at the very least, very worthy to explore. And he came up with this level of consciousness. And interestingly, you'd think love is number one. It was not. It was very high, but peace was, true peace. But anyway, you see these different levels that we can figure out on someone or something and see where they're at. And that's a whole nother story in itself, but it's very worthy to know about it. And we're trying to get up into at least in the 500s. And you'll start to see evidence, like you said earlier, when you're in the flow. That was well put. And I'll give you all an example of that. I don't know why I keep going the other way. I'm sorry, people. I also wanted, for folks who are interested, this book is old, but it's priceless, by Robert O. Becker and Gary Selden. The Body Electric explains a lot. It's a short read. It explains everything. And it's classic. So The Body Electric by Robert O. Becker. So this happened to me, Truth, before I did a podcast about a year ago. And I took photos of it. This is one of the most mind-blowing experiences I've had. I've had a lot of synchronicities once I started this work. Like I said, they were probably there, but I didn't notice them. At one point, I had so many that I got nervous. And I have a really excellent, she's in the cast, intuitive. Her name is Antoinette. I've been with her over 20 years. She's older than me. Anyway, she's really legit, spot on. Anyway, I called her when I started. I was overwhelmed with how many I had. I mean, I went to the bank, the number of them. All day long, I got a little scared because it was just ridiculous. I go, what is happening? She goes, well, you're fine-tuning in the world, in the frequency world, and a lot of things just started happening to you. Don't get scared by it. Like, okay. So then right after that, I was supposed to go on a podcast. So I went to pick up some food, Truth. And while I was in line in the car, I saw this on my odometer, 666. And I went, oh, that can't be good. I did not like that. And I got, oh, now what? But then I saw ahead of me, Love Now on the license plate. And I'm realizing this is getting wild, so I took a picture of it. And I was able to go back and take the picture of the license, the 662, I'm sorry, because I wasn't moving yet. Then I turned over and looked at what time it was. I don't know why, but it was 111. And then it was taking forever for the food to come. So I turned the radio on, and this song came on. No Stopping Us Now. It's a good tune, too. Then a rainbow showed up. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Out of 365 days a week, Truth, I don't know. There's very few rainbows. And I was like, wow. Excuse me, you can't make this up. That was enough. But finally the food came and I drove home. And then when I came home, my wife, I got a million coffee cups, handed me this one. And, it was extremely comforting. And we know. And I was like, oh my God. So I took a picture of that. And that podcast I was a guest on was extremely successful for everyone. So that was so cool. And there's a lot of reasons that people come up short when it comes to achieving their goals. But one of the biggest ones I found is people lack accountability. One of the things I've noticed big time doing this work is, and it's not judgy, but it's just true. I listen more than I talk. I do talk a lot, but I try to listen twice as much as I say. I'm paying attention to everyone, and I'm very tuned to them, and I want to really help them. So I'm listening, but at the same time, I want to see what they're doing or not doing, because really, talk is literally cheap. It's what someone does or doesn't do that I care about if I'm going to help them, or who I want to hang out with. I want to see what people are doing or not doing, not what they're yapping about.
Mm-hmm.
So for the folks, you got goals and you don't know where to start, make the goal and then like you said, tell people, tell everybody about it. Make yourself accountable. Everybody knows what you said then. Put your money where your mouth is. Make a serious bet, a big one, that if you don't do it, you'll lose money and it'll hurt.
Yep.
It's just about being accountable and then putting it out there. And then the acts of kindness, especially the small ones, daily, honestly, not manipulative or fake, but just be that way. You'll start getting that centrifugal force going, and the universe, God, angels love that, and it'll just keep going. It's helped myself and my friends a lot. So that's basically my slideshow, and I want you to fire away with all the questions. I know I threw a lot in there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take too long. I don't want to.
No. It's a great place to start and to tap in. What is the so what's the name of it? Because I'm trying to see where planet.
Okay, sure. Everybody asked
comes
that.
in.
Fair
Yeah.
enough question. And this is my honest answer. So the computer I utilize, I don't tell you what it is yet. And when I will expose, I will share what this computer is and everything about it once we get into the TV series and the feature film. And the reason, because I eventually want to teach everyone this. So Help Us on the Way is designed to be an iconic franchise brand. I hear myself talk kind of sounds like I'm being corporate, but we mean it. We have merchandise, but we want to go all over the world with this and then set up clinics. And I want to teach people how to do what I do, and then we'll find even better things. The reason I'm not telling folks what this is yet is because, honestly, I don't want any attacks. I can prove all this is all legit, but there really are a lot of forces out there that want to take away a lot of these alternative things. I'm sure you might have heard a few years ago, these alternative practitioners who were helping people with the big C,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all dead.
Yeah.
Supposedly all committed suicide. It's mathematically billions to one. So it's really serious what's out there. I'm not a drama king, but I'm careful. So, but what I can say is it's an FDA Class 2 device. It's very safe. It's very real. It can't make you what you're not. It's not mind control, but it can bring out, this is really important, the best of what you are. You don't know what you are until you might try this or things that you're doing. And a funny story, hopefully it's quick. Does not interrupt me. You're the boss here. But folks who knew me, my friends who knew me a long time ago that came out here to Arizona where I am now, especially my friends from New York, were stunned. They said the difference I am now from then. Some of it's probably I'm just older, and I used to be just a disco boy, and then fun. But the funny story that I'll try to tell fast is I had one of my better friends. His wife was Brazilian, and I can't do the accent, but I'll sort of try. So I'm working on her. I did do it in person with her, and she's a very sweet lady. And she's like, Bill, I want to ask you something. I go, sure. She goes, you're very different. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I want to ask you. And she would say, like, instead of great, she's a guy, and girl was gowl. So I can't do it, but I try the accent. But anyway, she'd say, I kept repeating, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I go, just say it. It's okay. And she goes, well, you're different now. I go, huh? She goes, well, now and she pauses, now you're smart.
That's funny.
You might have to be there, but I go, because people who knew me can't believe I do this. And I wrote up the feature film and the TV series. And it's a kind of a backhanded compliment. But my point is, I don't blame them for being shocked because I didn't know I could do it either. But I don't want to exaggerate, about a year or two of doing this work, man, a lot started coming out. I just started, I guess, the potential I had accumulated. So you never know what can come out until you try.
So how does it work in the sense of the energetic alignment? So is it helping to identify blocks and just removing the blocks for where the natural energy would flow of the person who, if they really want what they say they want, like I want to tap into psychic abilities or wealth, what is stopping?
Twofold.
Yeah.
You already get it. Yes. So technically it detects stress. And so let's say an organ. They've discovered an organ has, let's say your pineal gland. It has a specific, this is actually so cool, specific frequency range. So the computer, because it's so fast, will analyze literally thousands of items. One of them saying being your pineal gland. If it realizes it's not in that frequency range that it should be, it'll let me know it's stressed, unbalanced. And I got to figure out why and what the relationship is and all that, and send a corresponding frequency to balance it back out or to strengthen it. By the way, for your viewers, there's a lot of YouTubes that are still free that can help with the pineal gland and other things, different frequencies. 528, that's a great one. 396, 369, 939, 432. I always tell folks that, you don't have to just do work with me. There's stuff out there that can help you free. And it's amazing it's still out there. So I don't want to forget to tell people that. But yes, it finds the blocks and the reasons why things aren't in order. And then a lot of times it'll let me know why if I search enough. And I give people a report on why those things aren't optimum, so they can be aware of it and do something about it themselves, along with the frequency to try to adjust it. Everything has a frequency, Truth. This pen has a frequency. Mm-hmm. Anger has a frequency. It's amazing. And the greater minds than I have figured out what the range of all those frequencies are, and they're in the computer. So, and then again, the computer isn't biased. So the only thing that can go, it's about 10% chance what we're looking at could be wrong, an error, a boo-boo, blip, a flyby. That's fine. But it's remarkably accurate usually. And it's all aimed to do good. This can't, similar to the homeopathics we mentioned earlier a little bit, where if your body wants it, mind, body, and soul want it, they'll take in. If it doesn't, it just goes right out. That's what's really cool about the frequencies.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to learn to do that and to be able to learn to know that it's a thing versus like you're just subject to all the energy. what all the words that even other people have said upon you, and you can't get this curse off of you because this person said this. Like, you got to learn.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know it's a thing, then I mean, most of us, let's say this, how if you haven't done the work and if you don't know this stuff, you're still suffering from things that someone said about you in the second grade. Like, into your,
that's so true.
you may never deal with it, but it's to like,
It's
and
affecting you though, right?
It's blocking something.
Yes.
Because if not, it just would have
that.
it just would have washed off of you, but it's stuck. So it's dealing with that stuck or stagnant energy,
Yes.
which you said stress and those kind of things.
Yeah, but you're right. That's the general term. That's the legal term.
Yeah.
Because we can't diagnose.
No,
and
it's,
we don't
yeah.
feel.
Yeah, it's something that
That
blocks
was well
it.
put.
You know, so.
And you know what? True confession. What comes up on me less than it used to, but it still is, and it's not good. I admit it, but I have childhood issues, literally, and I know what they are. And the good thing is I don't see them come up as much, but in all honesty, they're not gone. But like you said, it's those high school years, or really young, like you said, too.
Mhm.
And gosh darn it, like I'm grandpa. I'm 64 years. I'll be 65. Ah! I have friends who get mad when I say that, but I'm into reality, but I mean. Those things should be gone now, but they're not. So and it affects you. So it's stunting your growth. And so it's all funny, but I want it to go. But so I'm very dedicated. I have the luxury of this work at any time, and I'm still not totally where I should be. So I'm not ashamed or anything, but a lot of people know that it's other people, they've cleared themselves real easy of stuff. I got some issues still.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the good thing.
Yeah.
That you're a student. You're
Yeah,
what
I'm
was it?
practicing.
Hey, what was it back in the day? I don't know if you remember this, but like the Hair Club for Men slogan was like, "Hey, I'm not only the president. I'm also a client." It's like, listen.
Yeah.
But I mean, what else would you promote that versus something that's working for you or something that you practice?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just tied to this or whatever. No, I practice. This is what I do to find peace, and to when I run into an energetic block or something is blocking me from receiving, what I want to come forth into my life, and I want it more than anything, and I can't get it. And so finding out what that block is, because it's interesting when you say stress and those things are blocking it, and we're talking about vibrational frequency, because like a vibration has to hit something and come back to you in order for it to vibrate. So it goes forth and it hits it, and it has to find resonance. And so I feel like you can imagine it going, and then there being confusion or chaos energy, stagnant energy, that sludge, if you will, and it won't let it go through and penetrate and hit that thing with a clear signal to come back to you, because it's getting stuck in the stuck energy or the confusion or the chaos, which comes from anything but something that was said to you in the second grade.
That is
still
profound, because you're absolutely right. In quantum physics, there's a thing called Fourier chaos. And that is often where I look to for what's causing the problem. Because we want things in everything, we utilize harmonics, balance and symphony and orchestration, literally. Everything's mathematical. It's not romantic sounding, but it's okay. But everything is math. God's a giant mathematician. And we're trying to get into the code, so to speak. I mean, I don't know if that's the way to put it, but it's kind of like that. And we mentioned earlier in that slideshow, entanglement. Everything in this world is entangled, good or bad, and the harmonics of it. So what you just said is exactly right. Chaos. We want, the universe abhors a vacuum. Well, how I understand it, the world now, we need a little chaos to keep everything moving, the universe, but it's going in the wrong direction. It's too much. Too much chaos. It needs to be brought back. And your job, probably, and mine, is why we're here, is to help that.
Yeah.
And the young people are bombarded with the phone. To me, the phone, I'm glad I got this in here. The phone is the bad guy. That phone, I know it's fantastic technology, but to me, it is the stepping stone, the gateway drug. Not your song. Your song's awesome. But I still have that song in my head, man. It's beautiful. But it's the stepping stone to what I think is the big bugaboo for all of humanity, and I couldn't be more serious, is AI, singularity and transhumanism, which isn't even a secret. If people are awake and listening, they're announcing what they want to do. We might put people into machines and merge them. Your soul's trapped in there, and you'll be controlled. But they're going to entice us with nanobot technology to keep us young. Yeah, you'll kind of live forever, but you're trapped. But they're going to try to make it enticing with everlasting joy and putting things in your head so you're going to think, oh, it's awesome, man. Meanwhile, who knows what you really be? You know, it might be in a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And the kids are so locked into the phone, and they won't give it up. I laugh at people who say they're truth seekers and they're vigilants and they're out against, they're God warriors. I can say, well, can you give up your phone? Oh, no. I go, well, you're not. I go, I don't care, but don't tell me. You got to give up the phone. I know how hard that is, but I'm pretty convinced of that. So that's my soapbox, but it's kind of obvious. That movie, Don't Look Up, did you ever see that?
I didn't, but I know the premise of it.
Oh, please watch it. I think you'll love it. The message of it.
Mm-hmm.
It captures everything of where we are now and where we might be going. I don't want to spoil it, but I swear, if you have time, watch that.
Man,
I
yeah.
don't want to spoil it, but it was brilliant. It tells where we're at.
So maybe that would
everyone's
be
guided by social media and the approval ratings, and everyone is so out to lunch and obsessed with the 15 minutes of fame and the approval of people who don't even know you're alive.
Yeah.
And it's divided. It hasn't made people come together. It's divided them.
It's a very strange time we live
On
in.
purpose.
Yeah, where you ignore the person next to you for the likes of strangers who could be bots.
Yes.
You know, and the person next to you
most likely are.
is suffering.
Yeah, Twitter's Musk has revealed that.
Yeah. Right.
That's a whole other subject, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Twitter, the streams, followers, like even plays on Billboard charts, and you sold so many albums and records. They put out, you know, this is, it's a facade. It's not real.
Back to Gateway. Can that be released as a single? Like Billboard? Do they still have Billboard Top 40? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to keep up with it. You think that me being a musician, I would know.
That should be like a #1 song, man.
Yeah, I mean, we got to find tactful ways with the internet. You know what I'm saying? To get it out in front of people, even with.
I don't know how it works now. When I was a kid, there was the Billboard 100, the radio. You go to the store and buy it. I know it's archaic, but I heard a lot of great songs. Now, it's cool. There's so much, but I miss out because I'm not able to find them all. And really, in general, the music's weird now. There is no rock and roll, generally. There's just not a lot of stuff like there used to be. And I'm not saying because I'm older, but there just isn't.
Yeah.
But then there's some great music like your song that I wouldn't be privy to hear because I'm not able to figure out what channel it's on or how it's being broadcast, where it used to be just the country music, Billboard, or the Top 40, or the dance, or, you know what I mean? Like now, I don't even know how you do it.
This is what I do, and I'm still learning every day because it's changing so much. It's changing so much about how to get out there. So it's cool for me that I have the podcast and the music because they complement one another. It's the same subject matter. It's, you know, it's not like I'm like, if you want to hear me talk deeper about the Gateway, I actually think I did a podcast. I was doing these ones where I would read my lyrics and break down each lyric. And I think I did Gateway. It's an old one, and I only did a couple, but I would read the line and it would be just a talking point and breaking down.
Oh, I like to see it.
Just because in that one line of thought, you know, is so much.
There is.
And it was hard to make it through because I gotta read faster because I can't just, because everything connects to so much, you know. It's not just, this is just what it means. Well, it means that because of this, and this has the potential to take us here. And there's so much in the awe, wonder, and inspiration with art, creativity, I mean, even in your presentation, the images that you used
Yeah, I
and
do it
why.
to guide us, because I'm not a professional speaker, and I know people don't have a lot of time, and I want to get to it. Just
No, it
help
helps to stay on track because if
that,
not,
yeah.
you
And
wouldn't
I
get
also
through
want to
with
show
it.
the
Yeah.
photos to prove, because I know a lot of things I'm saying that sound outrageous. I know, but they're true, and so that's one way to prove it. Because like I said, I'm very much into. I live near Sedona, and not to be neggy, but there's a lot of fraudsters, and there's a lot of fraudsters on YouTube
Yeah.
posing as alternative
Yeah.
practitioners, and of course that's harmful. But my job as a producer for this project, I got to make sure whoever I present and cast is real. So I got to see proof. Simple, it's really simple. Nobody should
Yeah.
have a problem with that,
Yeah.
except the fakes.
Right.
So
They got to try harder too, though. They
yeah,
just
yeah.
repeat and regurgitate. They're not in there getting their hands. They're not getting their hands dirty, you know. So they're just repeating something they heard or read. It's different when you've experienced it, and that's the
Yeah,
beauty
that's
of
why I
what.
also was talking about what we mean by quantum and stuff like that, because they use it all the time now, and a
Yeah.
lot of the fakers, and it's just a popular word. And what do you mean? You know? So, and I'll dwell on that, but I'm just very aware.
Mm-hmm.
And I just personally, I'm into truth, duh, and it's so precious, and it's the only thing I want now. If it isn't true, I don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, be it sports, music, hurt people. We just rescued 2 German shepherds, female sisters, and I wasn't going to get any more dogs, but well, so much for plans.
Right.
But I love the animals because they're true. I'm not trying to over romanticize them, but it's true that they're true, And I get reminded of them every day. They were really in bad shape, and they're really blossoming now, and their truth is now our truth, and it's just so beautiful to see. And this is good news. A lot of people. The bad news is there's been a ton of abandoned pets over the last few years. I can't really understand it, but nevertheless there is. But the good news is we had to have these dogs professionally trained. They were wild, and I had a hard time finding trainers because the good news is they're booked because all these folks have adopted and rescued puppers, and they need training, and they recognize that, and they're responsible owners, and so they were booked. And I did find an awesome one. And if anybody needs a great trainer, man, Andrew, hit me up. I'll send him to you. He's the man. Very kind guy, too. Anyway, though, the truth in the animals, I love that.
And
I think a lot of people do.
You could scan animals as well, right? Like that's another.
Yes, actually. So this computer, this works best on animals. They don't have blockages. Second best, young people. I make a joke of this, but it's true, too. And, all jokes all humor, the best humor, there's truth in it. The toughest people to help are the curmudgeon, grumpy old men. They're hard. We can help them, but they take longer a lot of times. They got a lot of blockages. So, so with pets, a lot of times they're rescued. They don't know they gave them a name, but they don't know their birth name or where they're born and their birthday. The photo works. I can't explain it. I'm thrilled. With people, it can still work, but not as well. But with the animals, I still want the info if possible, but the photos have seemed to do just as well. It must be, again, the less blockage. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind, kind of. And then I have a Down syndrome child that is showing remarkable improvement in this last year that I've been working on her. We've documented that. So luckily we got with her once she was born. And so that's helped a lot. It's a genetic problem, Down syndrome. Can't cure it, but she's come further than they ever dreamed. And you can see the difference in her photos. Wow. So we're doing some serious work over here. Needs to go farther. This isn't about me. It's about the work and getting the world exposed, and then they can make up their own mind. I was going to say earlier, and you kind of touched on it, you're in tune with this, is I can't help anybody if they don't want to get helped. And I was taught a long time ago, and I didn't believe it, but I've seen this now. And again, in our hypersensitive culture, it's like people think I'm being judgy, and I'm not. I'm reporting. So bottom line, though, is they've told us people will come to us, they pay us, and they talk about everything. So you'd figure they want to get better. Well, we were told that a lot of those folks they don't want to get better. They want to know about it. I went, why would they pay me? Why are they talking about it? I have seen that.
I know. I used to say
that's their business, but they say this work doesn't work or your work doesn't work. No, you didn't want to get better. You just wanted to know about it. That's your business.
Or just get it off their chest, but not really deal with it, thinking that
or they're curious, but they don't really fast example. Somebody had horrible allergies. I found out the main allergen, it was feathers. I said, do you sleep with a feathered pillow? Oh, yeah. They go, well, every time she'd come, I'd clear her up. But then it would flare up again because she's so exposed. And it would take quite a while for her to get desensitized. We were going there. But she was complaining that it wasn't there yet. And I said, well, don't sleep on the pillow. I can't throw it away. I go, I didn't say that. Wrap it, put it somewhere else. Don't sleep on it. I can't do that. I can't help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like, I do sessions and people come to me and stuff, and like early on, and I still say this, it's like, listen, the fact that you booked a session and you're willing to pay for this, my work is easy from this point out. It shows me that you want help. And as long as you want it, I'm going to tap into that energy and I'm going to work with you. And like, with that being said, it's like, yeah, man, it's just, it's easy because it is. But that's until you start seeing people who pay you and they pay and they don't really want to do they don't know who they are without it. And it's like, oh, wow. So that thing, so for the people who want help and the fact that they're like, yeah, I'll book a session. I want help. Yeah. But people still book sessions just because they want to talk to their favorite rapper or whatever. We book a session.
That's okay,
it's like,
but
that's okay. But just let me know.
Let's be honest, right? And also, if they say later on, oh, my work with truth didn't work. No, you didn't want to be better. So be fair to truth and yourself, and that's all cool with whatever you want. But be fair, right? So you've already learned that,
yeah. So it's part of it because people will book a session and not really mean it.
You do a lot of the work that you make them take action with the meditations and other things that you do, which is awesome. So I like that. They've got to do some things.
You just gotta let them know what to do to move forward. Like, hey, this is what's blocking you. This is what's stopping you. Get the feather pillow out, because it's usually one thing it's like a domino effect. It's like, well, I'm always stuffy and I want to start a podcast, but I'm stuffy all the time. And well, get the pillow out. And now you'll be able to, start the podcast, which is going to allow you to reach people, allow you to make an income, all of these things that are blocked because of the pillow. You got to be able to find out what that block is.
Away, just don't sleep on it.
Right.
I could go on and on. I'm just, our culture has, there's some still outstanding people, but our culture's been dumbed down. And I'm kind of stunned that there's people my own age who, I don't know what happened to them. Like a lot of people are losing where they live, and then they think they don't even know where to go. And listening to them, they're a victim. My landlord kicked me out. No. So you ask them about it, and you learn they knew 6, 7, 8 months ago. They did nothing about it till the end. Like, wow, plan. That landlord, it's his property. He gave enough time. He might give you extra time. Sometimes they did. So landlord's not the bad guy. Grow up, figure out where you're going to go. I know it's something kindergarten, but I'm seeing this a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm very compassionate and gentle with people. I'm firm, but I try to help. I give everything I have to folks. My wife's always telling me doctors don't do what you do, Bill. I go, well, that's okay. But I really put it out there for them, and I'll do everything I can for anyone. I just ask them to be committed, or don't waste your. I don't want you to waste your money. I don't want to waste your time. And I put out to the universe. I want excellent clients who are committed, who want to get help, who will receive. I'm into the Holy Spirit. I'm not religious, but I totally believe in the Holy Spirit personally, and I utilize that in I tell people I go to church when I go to work. There's that Oregon Shield. I put the electric prayers in. If they want the Bible verses, I do that. If not, though, there's Christ consciousness that's embedded in the computer. I mean, this is wild stuff. I put all of this is my intention. My intention matters, so does theirs. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing for folks, and it's exhausting.
That's awesome.
You know, it's not a career for everyone. You got to learn how to pace yourself. You know, Edgar Casey, they say, died from too much work. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but I can see that.
Went to I took a picture in front of his shop, his old shop in Selma, Alabama. I was driving through, and I didn't know that they said it's a plaque that says "Home of the Sleeping Prophet." I was like, what? But yeah, Edgar Casey had his photography shop that he did to help keep his, psychic medium stuff going until he could, do that full time, So they had to have a whole plaque and a thing down there in Selma, Alabama, and that's where I'm at. So I was like, cool, man.
Wow.
He's from, at least he lived in Alabama for some time. That's really cool. And which is like literally an hour away from where I
know
am.
some people doing some interesting work. It's kind of secret in Muscle Shoals. There's some kind of medical technology supposedly going on down there. I hope it comes to fruition. We'll see. This next year, to me, is a very huge year for all of humanity.
Yeah, I agree. I think
there's a lot. People need to
feels
get going. There's a sense of urgency, I think.
Yeah.
Big time.
No, people are being prepared.
King, but man, we got to get going.
Yeah, we're being
prepared.
Have
stepped it up
and pushed out.
Huh?
I said we're being prepared and pushed out, for something great, not for something evil. Like the evil's there, but when evil raises up, that's only for righteousness and for beauty and grace and love to raise up to the occasion as well. And
let me ask. That's interesting.
Feel like you have it in you. You have. Your name means more than you know, right?
Like you said earlier, yeah, absolutely. And everyone should look into their name. Wow. And it gives them can magnify their purpose and just their value of who they are and what's going on, and maybe where they need to go. Seriously, it's very fascinating. I can get cynical because of what's going on and where we are.
For sure.
I believe we can change it tremendously, but people have to start taking action, not just words. So we'll see. I'm doing my part. You're doing your part. I want to do more. Let's get this help. I keep going the wrong way.
Yeah, well, there it
is. Help's on the way.
Isn't it about balance, like being able to balance technology and balance spirituality? Because
it's like everything. Like money isn't the root of evil. It's the people, if they are.
There you go.
It's a vehicle. And the technology, the AI stuff, that's really horrifically dangerous, I think. I think it's the Antichrist. But in the phones, I mentioned, they're, whoa. But the technology in the phones are awesome. Some of it's fantastic. You can film a movie with some of those phones.
Yeah.
That camera's so awesome. And so I love technology, but like you're saying, it's balance. So it's not that tricky. It's just people just need to be focused.
It mimics a spiritual technology. All the physical technology that we have, it mimics something that is already within the human
well put.
body.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. In your pineal gland, or to make telephone calls, to receive energy for a radio, like in the old radios, there's a little quartz crystal inside the radio that is able to pick up the frequencies that are in the air or in space.
I didn't know that till like 10 years ago. You're on top of it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to even talk about that now because nobody has those radios anymore.
No, but that's interesting to know. It's a foundational thing to know. Good for you. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Crystals are awesome.
And you have a crystal in your third eye that receives the information.
So for your viewers, and your fans already know, but one of the reasons I do a specific pineal gland activation session for people is, especially for now, is I want to help them if they want to become more aware of everything, so they can deal effectively with what's coming, what's going on, where they're at, and where they want to go. So you'll have a lot more what I call internal knowing, true knowing, your intuition, your insight.
GPS, come on now. That's a mimic of an inner knowing.
Yeah. And, like you said, it was really spot on. It's there. It's just I keep saying it over, but like you said, your awareness, and then also your way you discern it, like your background. You were a different way than you are now. That's very interesting. So you make conscious choices. It's beautiful.
Yeah, when you know that it exists or you think that it exists, then you can give it more attention, which is awareness, which is devotion, which is worship. Like, it's there. Like, if you don't know it's there, you're probably a victim and you're not utilizing it. But if you know, hey, I've got an inner GPS. I can feel when somebody's lying to me. I can,
right.
and that comes back to
and not ignore it.
Help you or harm you. Or probably both, right? Because it's always a blessing and a curse. Everything has the polarity.
The duality.
So you got to be in that balance.
The world we're in. Yeah, it's like with the ESP or the intuition. Everyone has it, but what I found, I think, is why a lot of people have lost it, in a sense, or don't utilize it. They don't want a lot of the intuition they're picking up. It's kind of negative. Yeah. It's true though.
Yeah,
but they don't want to. They don't want to believe it. So they ignore it,
or they don't know what to do with it once they got it.
Right. Yeah,
there's a lot of
that takes wisdom and some experience. Exactly. You're absolutely right. Well, that's a great point though, because like a lot of people don't want to become more aware because it frightens them. They don't know what to do with it, and that's legit. And I have sympathy for that.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll ignore it, or also what happens to a lot of people is I found it interesting. I took a while to figure it out. I'll find that the reason they're not getting where they want to go right off the bat is because they're a perfectionist, which on one hand is kind of cool, but in their case, it stops them right off the bat because things aren't perfect right away, so they quit. But they don't even know it; it's unconscious.
I know it, and I'm conscious of it.
Well, you're very conscious,
but that allows me to try to position myself to okay, I know I'm this.
To get at, right? Yeah. And it's what you're saying. I'm butchering it, but I'm trying to echo what you're saying, and also
because you can see it. Like if you can identify.
Well, I want people to know that I get it. We get it that it can be intimidating, confusing, becoming more awake and aware.
Mm-hmm.
But be patient with it, and it'll help you so much very quickly, because then as experience and savvy and maturity, it's just like you can witness something that's bad but avoid it. But a lot of people don't want to witness it because it's bad. But then if you don't know it's there, it could get you. So it's that, like I said, that yin and yang, that balance. Awareness is never bad. It's what you do with it. You want to mature with it and have good choices with it, because ignoring it, you're not going to. You think you'll be okay because it's no sight, no hear. I'm okay. No, you're okay maybe now, but you're not going to go where you need to go now or after this world. Yeah. It's all up to you. What the people want.
But, so good. Well, Bill, let people know where they can go if they want to book a session, if they got some blocks that they want to deal with and they need help and they just can't get over it. Like, it's worth a shot, right? And I'm big into energy healing.
I make it very worthwhile for everyone.
Yeah, let them know where they can go to book a session with you. A little bit more about your work.
Planet BioScan. It's weird. You know what? I got hacked. The people who hacked me thought I was bigger shot than I am. And so I had to change it really quick, but it's yourplanetbioscan.com, or my phone number. They can call it. It's on your website. Your website, your YouTube. I don't just pop it out, but if they're serious, they can call me. Or the email is the best way. And it's a really mature email. It's billagogo. I came up with that 20 years ago, and I'm keeping it. Everyone's going to laugh at me. It's billagogo@aol.com. BILLAGOGO. Billagogo. And Bill, I'm on the go. At AOL, yes, I'm still on AOL.com. And I'll help you all I can. And if you just want to ask me a question, you don't have to be a client. I'll help you. It's all about service to others. STO.
That's it. Bill, enjoyed it, man. Thank you for sharing with me and my audience, and I'm looking forward to tapping in and everything that you're bringing to the table, and the film, all the cool creative endeavors and ideas, man. We'll have to get up.
I hope you're a part of it, man.
See what we can do. See what we can
check
meet
it
somewhere and do
out.
it. Yeah.
Your work seems outstanding. Your dedication, I applaud it, and I thank God that I had the maturity to realize I don't know it all, and I know about you. And I love your song.
Hey, man. Thank you so much.
Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, Bill Nolan, go to yourplanetbioscan.com, book your session, check out his work and all of his stuff that he's bringing to the table. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll do it again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Your will so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah Podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.